took this little tram thing up to this big house in the hill. Was that 2,000?
That pink looking thing?
It's like, I thought it was like white and it had a red roof.
It's pink, yeah, it's got a pink tint to it.
Yeah.
That might have been it, yeah. I mean, there's a couple of houses up there, but the biggest one was his house. Sort of overlooking, yeah. In U.S. history one time, I put Confederate flag equals Nazi flag. We should have shot Robert E. Lee, and all the country boys got really revved up about that one.
I wonder if it's still
Do what?
I wonder if it's still
Well, it's not like I asked them 130 years ago. All right, we talked about the Battle of Bull Run, or the First Battle of Manassas. You can see where it is in Virginia. I'm not going to spend a lot of time showing you this, but the maps are kind of cool. Oh, here's the Battle of the Ironclads. It's my favorite battle.
Didn't no one die?
No one died. Here, they're on the top of the monitor. This is the Union ship. Literally, they had just cannons sitting on top of the ship. It was like, it wasn't a normal ship like, that had cannons. I mean, it had some cannons sticking out, but it was like a flat top and like a little. It looked like a metal tugboat, right? And they had cannons sitting up there, and they were just firing balls, and it was just bouncing off.
The one guy on the left.
I wonder if they were like laughing.
He's like, ooh.
I don't think people laugh during war.
I don't know.
Here is a cartoon. What is this getting at?
Want to Yeah, rich people don't have to work.
What's happening over here?
They're
Really poor.
Suffering, right? What about them?
They're like, not this poor person.
Look at these people suffering. These are the low lives. All you need to do is hire a substitute. We're going to talk about Antietam. Antietam is the bloodiest day of the war. It happened in September of 1862. How many of us have heard of the Emancipation Proclamation? All right. Antietam is important with that. Antietam is important. This is the first battle the North didn't lose. It's in Maryland. It's sort of considered a draw. This battle happened in one day. 23,000 casualties in one day of fighting. One day. I'll remind you again that since the Iraq and Afghanistan war started, we've lost 6,000 people. This one day lost almost 400% more than our entire time. We lost, in this one day, we lost 40% in this one day when we lost the entire Korean War. Right? We didn't lose this battle. Lincoln was looking for a battle that looked like an American or a Union win so he could announce the Emancipation Proclamation. It was this battle and the North not losing it that allowed Lincoln to start drafting the Emancipation Proclamation, which he announces after this battle. It doesn't become in effect until January 1st of 1863, but it's this battle that did this. If you ever you've seen Glory? Have you guys seen Glory? Remember the beginning of Glory, the part where the guy's head gets taken off and it's that battle? It was Antietam that the battle was at, right? It was pretty gruesome. When emancipation happened, you can see the emancipation actually freed 0 slaves. The emancipation said all slaves in warring states are free. All slaves in states that are going against the Union are free. Well, so who is not free? Border slaves are not free, right? Why would he not free border slaves? He needed the border states because they had a lot of white people, right? And they were important strategically. So in the end, do you think the South was like, oh, I guess the North said no more slavery, I guess we'll get rid of more slaves? You think they listened to that? No. No slaves were free. It emancipated nobody. But what was the issue of emancipation? Now what does this war become? A lot of it becomes about slavery, right? And now the North is claiming moral superiority. Does this make sense? Now, if you're a white person from Wisconsin or Iowa, and you don't like slavery, but you're not particularly fond of black people, what do you think many people did? Yeah, you actually start having a lot of desertions. People are like, that's not why I'm fighting. I'm fighting because the South bombed us. I want to keep the Union together. I'm not fighting for black people. Now, some were, some weren't. Who do you think this did help bring into the Army?
Abolitionists.
free black people, right? And they start having free black free black regiments. Do what?
Like Tennessee, like the lines, it's an area
It's the same as it's all Confederate.
Yeah, so like,
Oh, yeah, why is it going up and down?
yeah, so it's like,
Where it's
I think they're just making it so you can. I really don't
It's
know.
there's a key over there. Yeah.
What?
so Tennessee was like except for
Where slavery was an area of legal slave owning. There were, well, I don't know. That's weird. I mean, there were some people in Tennessee who fought for the North. Like Andrew Johnson was a Tennessean, and so Tennessee like kept some of their senators and congressmen. That might be it. But it was a Confederate state. I mean, it's still. That's weird. I don't know. And there's the actual emancipation.
That's what it looks like. That's a lot of pictures and a little bit of writing.
Well, it's just small writing. The actual emancipation is just on a piece of paper. It's not a big giant thing with Lincoln's face on it. But this is a poster. They are trying to show that this is now part of the American justice system, right? How many of you ever been to the Capitol building in D.C.? Have you walked in the portico and you've looked up, right? And there's that big frieze that kind of goes all the way around. And it's like the woman holding the justice thing, right? The emancipation is now about justice, right? She's holding up the law thing. It's hard to read what this is being written, but this is a cartoon about emancipation.
what is that in the corner?
Right here.
Yes.
Looks like he has like a
I-
hood on.
It looks like he's got a hat hanging on a statue.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I thought it was like
This picture is not particularly good.
it almost looks like a Ku Klux Klan thing.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
What's with the eye on the table? Doesn't that have like a universal meaning? Like on the side of the table, it's like the eye.
Oh, right
It's
here.
Illuminati.
Illuminati.
I really didn't know that.
I think some of these cartoons, because we can't read what it's writing, they're kind of hard to. But the North can start now recruiting actual African Americans, and you have posters. Come down and join. You can see they were completely segregated, though, in the sense that there were never commissioned black officers. What do I mean, like commissioned?
They never got paid.
Well, no, all soldiers got paid.
They were never like.
Like you've heard of like private and corporal and sergeant. Those are what's called non-commissioned officers. And then you have officers are like second lieutenant, lieutenant, major, captain, right, colonel, and then general. Black people were not allowed to be commissioned officers. They were always led by a white officer. There could be non-commissioned, and they could be a corporal or sergeant. But they were segregated. They didn't fight with white troops.
How young is that little kid?
Yeah, a lot of kids were drummers. Why did they have back then drummers and stuff?
It's like they couldn't hear each other in the battlefield, so they had like drummers and bugle players to communicate like commands and stuff.
Yeah, communication is really important during battle. And from what I've heard from people who are friends of mine or people I've read about who were in battle, the sound is so deafening, and you need to be able to communicate. And they did use music as a way to do that. Actually, it's interesting. Factories, Japanese factories, do the same thing. In loud factories, when a machine goes down, there's a giant sound, and the different music means different things shut off. So, yeah, they can keep them in time and step when they're walking or marching. The 54th Massachusetts was the first ever black regiment. Originally, by the way, black soldiers were not paid as much as white soldiers, and the 54th actually complained, and eventually they got
Isn't that a movie?
Glory, yeah. The one I keep talking about, yeah. If you haven't seen Glory, you really should. The final scene right before they go to fight, the second scene where they're all like around the campfire and praying beforehand, and the music's going, you're like ready to go fight. It's pretty awesome. Shaw, Colonel Shaw, this is actually in D.C. Colonel Shaw was the leader. He's played by Matthew Broderick, and he died. Almost all of them died. The movie ends.
So sad.
It is a sad way to go down.
You're sitting there crying.
But the thing is, I mean, that's the Civil War. And what makes that movie so good is so many of, we're all used to like Iron Man and stuff, right? Where it always ends up awesome. Well, sometimes you end up dead, right? In war, it sometimes happens. Have you guys seen Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
What happens to Tom Hanks?
Yeah, he does.
He dies, right? Because sometimes in World War II, people died. And so what we have is, we have Inglourious Bastards to make us laugh about it.
Valkyrie. You got Valkyrie too.
Is there an angel flying?
Yes, an angel.
Like, oh, we failed to kill him. We can use that as a
For next year.
This is one of my favorite things, pictures of African Americans freeing slaves. A better one would be pictures of African American troops beating up white slaveholders. But that's why we have Django.
Yeah, that's
right? Thank you, Tarantino, for giving us all of these things, these historical retribution movies. But you can see here's the slave quarters. They're coming through. We'll see Sherman's march. Is this okay? Do you like this stuff? Just you like me talking?
Yeah,
Is that all right?
Hey, stop.